Good morning, afternoon, and or evening, everybody. Welcome Speed Docs presents Speed Dogs, aka Sable Aid. I am Dayman. I am your host for this first block of the event, and we have our string of wonderful runs continuing here with Tic Tac bringing us Shadow of the Colossus 90% normal. Take it away, Tic Tac.
Hello there, I'm very happy to be a part of this event. I will be showing one of my favorite games of all time, Shadow of the Colossus. Pet themes going on here. We have Agro the horse that you will be allowed to pet if you donate. But also I made sure to get some more animals and pets from the wild right here. This is Gregory the lizard. He will be part of the commentary booth over here. As well as little Anthony Jr. the anteater. Very, very important to keep it all animal themed. And yeah, I will be showing any person normal, which is just playing through the game as usual from start to finish. And with me is also Stocky on commentary.
Hello, I am the third animal.
Amazing. So if you're all ready, I guess we can do the countdown for the timer.
Yeah, whenever you're ready.
All right, then let's go in 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, so today we will be playing through Shadow of the Colossus, any percent. We will be doing specifically the normal difficulty and without any of the new game plus items or extra life or health. If anyone hasn't played Shadow of the Colossus ever, first of all, you have to do it. Second of all, Shadow of the Colossus is a boss rush style game with 16 different bosses, which we will be seeing. Most of them look like animals, some of them look like humans, we'll be seeing bit by bit. First off, we're going to be seeing a lot of sections of riding our first animal friend, which is Agro the horse, which we can pet later. Remember, $5, and Tic Tac will pet Agro. And we'll be riding towards the first Colossus. The first one is Valus, and we will be seeing that during the speed run, most of the puzzles that are meant to be solved through to be able to defeat the Colossi, we will be skipping them or just bypassing them completely, mainly through different physics tricks, especially in the remastered version. The physics can be a bit wonky, so we can abuse that to get to different spots and to sequence break the different Colossi. Over here, as I said before, we're going to the first one, Valus. We'll be going through 16 different bosses and meeting different animals along the way.
Yeah, because as a little special treat, I thought I can also show off some of the animals throughout this world, which are also kind of a little Easter egg. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, you're fine. I was just going to say, to no one's surprise, we already have a donation for a horse pet. We have $50 that says, "Pet that haunts." This is much of disabled Tic Tac and Stonky. So obviously, when you get back, we've got a horse pet queued up.
That's
perfect.
Very cool. Thank you so much. So,
Perfect.
blink if you miss it. I'm already on the head of the first Colossus, Valus. It's kind of an introductory Colossus where I am missing one of the steps. Okay. So the way it works is once you trigger a certain weak point, there is a cutscene in which you can actually run forward. So what I did is, while the cutscene was going on, I ran towards the head and grabbed it, which is not the way you're supposed to do it. But with 3 quick stabs, we are already through the first one here.
We'll be seeing as well in most Colossi, we will try to do what's called a jump stab at the end to be able to defeat it, because usually, a very cinematic, very pretty game, when you defeat a Colossi, you get this really cool slow motion stab. But we can just skip that with just a quick jump stab. For some reason, it's coded into the game that if you do jump, if you do a jump stab, it will just instantly cut off and defeat the Colossi. We need to pet Agro. Is that one pet per $5 or?
Yeah, I'd say so, just to make me a bit slower. Alright, it's
Exactly.
10 in that case, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No dollar going to waste. There we go.
That's a good one. Aggro will be running around a lot, so we got to give her a lot of pets to make sure that she behaves well, especially going through the forest.
Yeah, especially with the way I'm like optimizing the movement with aggro. There's a lot of kicking and going fast and stopping and restarting, so you know.
We gotta make sure we treat her well.
Yeah, exactly. Coming up, the next Colossus Quadratus is actually a very cool one because it's very different from the time attack, the way we do it. So, usually the way you would go about it is go all the way down there, near that wall, cave-looking thing, and there you have to use the bow to shoot the Colossus's feet to then be able to climb on there. But there's a little trick about it. So the way this works is, since there's different ways to trigger a cutscene, we can do it from up top here actually, because of a little oversight in the remake, which will allow me, if I trigger the cutscene from the top, to just jump down and land on the Colossus directly, which is way faster than doing it the other way, the way it used to be in the original game, PS2 and PS3 version. So we jump down, and here we are, doing a few more steps.
We'll be seeing as well. This is one of the few full-on sequence breaks during the actual boss fight, where we just where we start the boss in a unintentional way to just get directly on it. We will see one later. Over here we're seeing another technique called cycle stabs, which is if in some positions while stabbing, Wanda will get shaken strong enough for it to basically knock him out of the initial animation of recovering after a stab, which will allow us to let go of grab back on and start another stab even faster than we could prior. It's another one of those stab techniques that this game has a lot of, that really add a lot of depth to the speedrun and the technique.
Yeah, exactly. Basically, the more you run, the more little improvements and small optimizations actually start to matter. And this is just one of them. Being able to be good at stabbing and making sure to be stable is quite a skill to have.
We'll be going now to one of the more I'd say famous, but if you check the Reddit specifically, it's more infamous. Colossi, which is Gaius, the third Colossus. It's the one in the promotional images for the remake, the one with the big sword arm, and the one that everyone has issues with, especially on the highest difficulties. We won't be doing the classic, if anyone's been following this speedrunning scene, but not too recently. The classic strat always has been just going onto the tip of the sword and then flying, from the sword straight to the head. Unfortunately, for as cool and as flashy as that strat is, it has become obsolete. We will be doing a lot harder technique, but it is faster and definitely not as flashy. But it's by my understanding, it's you just run straight, and there's a specific animation where you get flung up with like the hit of the sword, I think.
Basically, it's not as cool, it's way harder, and the way it saves time is because it's more efficient. So instead of going to the head, we will be going to the belt and then to the sigil on the belly. And it's unlikely I'll be able to get it, honestly, because it's a very, very tough timing. But in theory, if you get the stabs very quickly and jump very quickly, you basically have no leeway whatsoever for any mistakes. You can directly jump to the arm within the animation to then land directly on the back and be able to hit the sigil on the head, which basically has no downtime, and that's why it saves time, because when we used to do the launch, you would get onto the head, but then you'd have to wait for the Colossus to stabilize. And with this strategy, there's basically no downtime whatsoever. It's straight up faster. looks less cool, but funnily enough, it's also harder to get that timing going. But even if I go for a backup which is slower, it's still faster than the old strategy because of efficiency, straight up. Sometimes you just gotta go fast, but do less cool stuff. Yeah.
Unfortunately, in speedrunning, the rule of cool isn't always the correct way, even though I still think the launch will have a special place in all of our hearts.
Yep.
But here we will hopefully see the strat that we were talking about. It will be quite different. I believe, I believe we still go for shots on the stomach, and that is because in this game, the way that it works, as you can see in the top right corner, is that each Colossus has health, and actually that health isn't like a specific amount of stabs. It's just simply is, just like any other game, just general health. So stuff like arrows, stuff like very small stabs, and all of that does affect how many stabs we have to perform. So with those, I believe 4 shots that will allow us to skip half of a stab on the last on the last sigil, which will, in turn make it just go faster. Less stabs, the faster we go. Unfortunately, there, Wanda did lose their grip, which meant that Tiktak couldn't get all of the stabs in. But we have the backup strat, which is absolutely no issue.
Yeah, so basically what happened there is the lineup was good, but Wanda, instead of shaking out of the second stab, stayed planted, which unfortunately already kills the strategy I was going for, because you basically, that half a second is already too much time lost. But that backup was very smooth, so this was probably still faster than the launch.
Definitely a very clean, guys, especially again in like any percent, especially because it's unlike with time attack, most of the Colossi don't have like a super consistent start, so you can have like small little changes, and in any percent that would be a perfect execution of guys, basically. If you have any donations, do interrupt us whenever. Do not worry about that.
Yep.
We will be now going.
Yeah, so the next Colossus is Phaedra, which also, is a very, very cool one if I get to do the strategy, which is quite tricky. The way it will work is, in this game, a lot of the strategy revolves about using the Colossus momentum to gain speed. All of that because the side jump in this game is quite broken, so whenever you do a small side jump, it's basically to transfer the Colossus movement directly onto a launch. We will see that a few times, but with Phaedra it's the most difficult instance because the timing window to make it work is quite small. Also here you can see some lizards while you're going there, so quite...
more friends, more animals.
Yeah, more animals here. And so basically I will line up and hopefully I can get the strategy to work, and it will be looking very flashy and cool and fast. If not, I'll have to try my best to get a backup going, which is quite tough. So hopefully it won't get to that.
Unfortunately, with Phaedra, it is one of the first. It's definitely one of those run killers as well with Gaius, in which there isn't really much of a backup. With Gaius, sure, once you're on, you have backups, but if you don't get on Gaius, you're basically done. Sable, don't look at that. Don't look at the list that we ran over. Okay, that's fine. Don't worry. They are fine. They canonically they get back up and then they scurry away. There's no problem with that. So Phaedra, unfortunately, is again one of those Colossi where if it goes wrong, there basically is nothing you can do about it. You kind of have to run around. Yep, exactly. What happened there was aggro kind of, for some reason, moved to the side.
Yeah, usually it doesn't happen there, but sometimes aggro gets randomly startled at the start and it kind of kills the whole thing about the strategy. So we get to see old school strats, which is also cool, right? This
Exactly.
one.
It's this backup showcase. It's a marathon. We got to show everything that is possible.
Yeah, so basically instead
So-
of a big cool launch, we had to settle for a thing where I just go on top of the leg there and use the geometry of the Colossus to climb up. It used to be the main strat we go for just because the launch is so difficult. And yeah, the whole problem is if the lineup is just a little bit off, you can't do the launch anymore because of the way it's so precise. But this backup was still very good because you can't believe like how difficult it can be to back it up. It takes a lot of practice.
It is.
Yeah.
Because it isn't just jumping on, you have to jump on, moving with aggro, towards Phaedra as well. Phaedra has to be in more, not like a very specific animation cycle, but it can like step out the way and move it out of the way. And especially when you're first starting, you get a lot of just 5-10 minutes of just running around in circles on aggro, jumping off, missing it, then having to call aggro back. It's a complete disaster. So actually, first try recovery is still very, very good. And, on top of that, it went wrong because aggro decided, there's not enough pets. So aggro's rebelling right now.
That's the issue here. But yeah, in between the Colossi, we always have some downtime, so Damon, if there's anything to shout out, feel free.
And I do want to say that so far we've been killing it on donations, and really keep up the nice work, everybody. It's been great. Nothing in the past 5 minutes or so, but I'll be keeping you updated. I'm sure we're going to have some more horse petting that's going to have to happen relatively soon. it's always a big time incentive for any time we have one of these runs, especially in an animal themed marathon.
Alrighty. So, yeah, in that case, the next Colossus is Avion. It's the flying one. Maybe, Stocker, you can talk about it, because I'm a bit terrified. Yeah.
Avion is that one Colossus where in a marathon, most runs have that one moment where if it goes well, nobody notices, and if it goes wrong, you look like an absolute fool. Avion is that moment. Generally speaking, it looks pretty simple. What we're going to do is we're going to do just like in the base game, where in the intended route, where we will swim to the platform, shoot Avion, and Avion will swoop down, and we will jump onto Avion's wing. But what we will do is instead of waiting for Avion to settle down, then walk to one wing, stab it out, wait for it to settle down, do all of that stuff. That's very slow, very, very slow. So what we do is, aggro is
Wow,
having
twice,
issues like with
twice.
double.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay, may I just rant for a moment, because animal-themed run aside, aggro, like, in these runs, when you go for records and world records and stuff like that, one of the biggest time losses you can get besides actual like mistakes on the Colossi is aggro running into random rocks or grass patches. And just now it happened twice. That's like 15 to 20 seconds lost right there just because aggro didn't feel that way. So yeah.
Aggro is more sensitive than those parking sensors you buy off of AliExpress.
Yeah.
Anything, just any tuft of grass, any tiny pebble. And on top of that, it's not even consistent. Sometimes she'll just run past it. Other times, she'll get terrified. Other times, Phaedra will terrify her. Most of the times, it wasn't. But, it's one of those things where you just have to live with it. At least it's not as bad as The Last Guardian with animal AI.
For sure.
So, at least we've got that part,
Yeah.
So as I was explaining with Avion, what we will do is after we get onto the actual wing, what we're going to do is we're going to go to one of the wingtips and quickly stab it out. And then mid barrel roll, we're going to drop. There's two options. Avion can go what's called wing down or wing up, depending on if the wing that you're on goes down or up. One is significantly harder than the other, but to make sure that you stay on, the Colossi have like some sort of magnetism, so to speak. So if you do drop down, you do kind of stick to Avion, and it's possible to drop down from one wingtip to the other. If you do it, you go like, okay, you just drop down. If you miss it, you drop down into the water, you have to swim back to a platform, you have to wait for Avion to be within, visibility, shoot them, and then wait for them to grab, so it's a huge time loss, so good luck.
Yeah, thank you. It's the biggest swim of shame that can happen. So let's see what we get here animation-wise. Once it calms down, it's swing up, which in theory is the easier one, but never be too sure because sometimes Wander can just randomly glitch a millimeter to the wrong side and it's all gone. But that worked out.
That was perfect.
And now we stab again. Another little scary drop here. Jump, and I think now we're good. It's always funny because, like, these kind of things, they look kind of like quick time events, you know. People don't realize that this is happening in the moment, in real time, and there's absolutely nothing stopping me from just falling into the abyss if I do it just slightly wrong, so that went well.
Yeah, luckily that went well. It was a showcase for those who noticed in that last sigil, Tiktak was nowhere near the sigil. That's because the sigil lies to you. Fortunately, most of the time it lies to you as in that it's bigger than what it should be. Unfortunately, for one boss that we will see later, it is way smaller than the sigil, and on top of that, it makes it way harder. But that's for later. Luckily, Avion went well, and if not, we would have to swim like this for about 3 minutes. It's terrible time loss.
Yeah, usually whenever marathon runs like that happen, past Avion, there's still a lot of difficult stuff, but in a way where I'm more relaxed about the backups. So, yeah. Well,
and also the other ones...
Yeah. Maybe besides one coming at a later point. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
And also, at least these, when you do mess it up, at least it looks cool when you mess it up. Avion, it just looks like you just drop down into the water for no reason.
Yep.
So, we will be going on to the next Colossi, and also the 17th Colossus, which is the Forest. As we mentioned before, aggro loves bumping and stopping on every little tuft of grass and every little rock. Well, how about an entire section that's built upon tufts of grass and little rocks that are made to annoy you? And on top of that is also not very clear exactly where you have to go through.
Yeah,
so we're going through this little forest over here, which is,
the whole way it works is basically, in the older games you just run through and it's no problem. But in this one they made it so beautiful, so much better looking, that they actually slow down aggro to make you look at this forest. But we are speedrunners, so we can't wait to look at the forest. So we stop aggro, do a quick start, and after the quick start runs out, we do a stop, like that, and do another quick start to accelerate. And this is faster compared to just going through it at an even speed. The problem is, like, if I'm not exactly on the correct spots while doing the quick starts, sometimes aggro just refuses because the grass is scary. This time it worked out, but yeah, another way you can lose time. It's surprisingly, like, intricate on how to maneuver through, like, the different parts of, like, the overworld, which makes it, in my opinion, a more fun run, especially since you also get to talk about more little things about the game during the actual marathon run, compared to, like, boss rush, where it's like full-on rap god, try to explain the stress before the Colossus dies. And it's more challenging, but more fun in that way, so I personally very much enjoy it.
We will be going now to the next boss, which is Barber, which will have our the next sequence break and one of the few tricks that happens before the actual fight begins, which is during the initial cutscenes and everything that is going on, Wanda and the Colossus, get placed into specific positions. Well, for some reason, with Barber specifically, if you skip the intro cutscene at a very specific time, Wanda will appear in the air in front of Barber, and just close enough for us to grab onto the beard, as Barber's name indicates, and be able to skip having to get onto it. Unfortunately, this is a any % only, and also time attack only on the American PS2 version. Very specific, I know. Because during time attack, for the first few moments, we don't have control over Wanda, and by the time that you gain control, Wanda would have already fallen down. So hopefully this should go well. It's a relatively consistent trick, no pressure.
I mean, it's a 5-frame window, so let's not get over our heads. And I have to look at a specific ditch in the wall. Hopefully that was fine. Yep, that was perfect. And here we are on the Colossus. Usually you have to get up there one way or the other, but we don't have the time
Luckily.
for that.
Barber's sigil on the back, similar to Avion, is another one of those huge sigils that take up basically 70% of Barber's back. I don't know why, but it's best to not complain, because it allows you to kind of grab in different spots. Oh, unfortunately, Tic-Tac over there on the floor grabbed onto the little
Oh my god,
edge.
okay. Yeah, okay. We're fine.
Barber can be a bit of... Yeah, we're fine. Barber can be a bit of a pain. You saw that Tic-Tac trying to do a very quick stab. That's because you can usually interrupt Barber's back shaking by dealing a tiny bit of damage. And even if you don't see the damage pop up in the actual health bar, it will deal just enough damage for it to stop the animation. Unfortunately, Barber decided to ignore Tic-Tac that time and still shake. But honestly, it could have been 3-4 shakes in a row. So just one, that's,
That's usually the way it goes. Going shakeless is kind of difficult to do consistently, but whenever you get it, it's a very nice bonus. But this is about what you would expect from a fight like that, so pretty clean overall still.
Very good, Barber. So, next will be, I believe it's the most thematic of Colossi. It's Kuro. No, it's Hydrus now. Never mind. We have.
Don't you dare get confused me there. That would be so funny though. Imagine going to the wrong Colossus.
Going the wrong way. My bad. So Hydrus now, which is the big water snake. I guess electric eel would be the correct.
Yeah.
The most correct definition. It is. It's another one of those. You do it right or you don't. But fortunately, it's a lot more consistent than others. Also, I've been told, because I am not. But we will be doing a bit of AI manipulation to make Hydrus swim towards us early. To make it consistent. Sorry, when Hydrus swims towards us, as well as making it a lot faster. And then we'll do a few very precise movements and jump stabs in the water to get close enough to Hydrus's head for it to believe that we are grabbing onto Hydrus, and then Hydrus AI will panic and go, wait, if Wander's on me, I shouldn't be swimming. So Hydrus is going to very quickly, show its head, rear its head out of the water, which will allow Tic-Tac to jump on it and basically skip the entire part of having to grab onto Hydrus's tail and swim and run through, stab the different spikes, and just allow us to get on the head and do a very, very quick boss. But before that, we're going to be petting, that's one way of saying it, one of the animals in the game. It's, I believe, one of the 2 spots for the turtles. Was it the only spot for turtle?
I got a bit confused, but I think that's the turtle spot.
Yes, that's the turtle spot.
My last platinum run was a bit away, but here it is. You can
Here it is, the little
step
turtle.
on it and then it hides. Yeah, very important.
Step on it with love.
Yeah. The turtle did nothing wrong, but there it is in the wild.
Wanda has has difficulty transmitting his love for animals.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because with all the other animals of the land, because there's a trophy for it in the platinum run, we actually go for it. But there's basically a bunch of animals that you have to interact with. Most of them you have to grab in some kind of way, but with a turtle it's I don't know, get near it and step on it or something, I don't know. And whenever you get to that point, it's a bit of a roulette when the trophy pops up. We do that last during the trophy runs usually, just because you can't tell when you actually interacted with the turtle. Sometimes you'll just be chilling there, the turtle is looking at you, you're looking at the turtle, nothing happens. Other times you just jump on the turtle and before you even notice interacting with it, the trophy already pops up. It's plus minus 2 minutes there in the platinum
Luckily
run.
with the PS5 now, the trophies pop a lot faster. On PS4 which is kind of, you just walked around the turtle hoping that you did all the other animals properly and wait there for a minute until something pops up.
Yeah, and the PS5 version is a lot better about it, but sometimes I think in the race against PDO, not sure if it was PDO or me, like, there was just a wait of over a minute and the turtle didn't do anything. Yeah. Turtles are
Classic
cool,
turtle,
everyone. Yeah.
We will be dealing with the turtle later, but for now we are with the electric eel. Tic-Tac over here will be moving to a very specific spot to jump into the water to make it about as consistent with, to be about as one-to-one with the time attack version of this Colossus. So what Tic-Tac will be doing is waiting for a visual cue with one of the pillars, doing a quick jump and doing a few swim cycles to get into a very specific spot where Hydrus in just a few seconds will suddenly decide that he hates your guts and beeline towards you. As Hydrus will be cresting over, Tic-Tac will do this very specific movement, and if all goes well, Hydrus will pop the head. There you go. Give us a little shock, and then we can just walk on and proceed as normal. As well with Hydrus, because of the shocking and the water, it allows us to just chain jump stabs and make for a very, very quick kill.
That was very good. It's kind of funny because this is one of the Colossi during marathons where it's actually easier to do it on hard mode. Just because if you fail the setup, on hard mode you can die more easily to the shocks. On normal, what usually happens if you mess up, and it's fairly easy to mess up still, even though the setup for it got a lot better than it used to be. It used to be like a 50-50, which is crazy.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, but now, when you mess it up, you basically have to try your best to get shocked to death. And if you mess it up, there's a nice looking... where is it? It's far away. But yeah, this is the pillar over there. You can run up on it and then fall back down to die by fall damage.
Accelerate your respawn.
Yes, this is the actual strategy you go for, and it's very awkward to do, but it's the only way we got. Yeah.
It's one of 3 Colossi you'd mildly consistently have to respawn yourself.
Yep. Okay,
So now we are going towards Kura, right? I'm not crazy.
I think so, yeah. Also, let me try to... I didn't get it.
No?
No.
Oh.
Well, we'll try again next time, but basically there's doves on here that start spawning like with later Colossi, and you can grab them. It didn't work out like this time, so I'll try again on the next spawn. But you can go into Kuro.
Yes, this is, as I was saying before, I realized I was wrong. This is the most thematically correct. It is our little lizard friend. It's a little, a little lizard. It is by far, I'd say, the easiest in normal and one of the hardest in hard. And the funniest part is that there's absolutely no difference between one or the other. It's just the extra health makes it so that in hard you have just not enough time, and in normal you can make it about as safe as you want. Because the way it's going to work is Kuro will we will whistle at the beginning after the beginning cutscene to get Kuro's attention and force its AI to climb up a very specific wall, and we will shoot Kuro's feet for it to fall down and jump down and do the cycle stabs I mentioned before, which is how specific animations can make Wanda lose grip, cancel the pulling the sword out animation, and allow you to grip again and start another stab and just defeat Kuro. In hard mode, because of the extra health, it makes it so that you basically barely have any time to mess up. And on top of that, if it goes wrong, Kuro crushes you as well. If you don't get off fast enough. The amount of time Kuro's on the ground depends on how high you let Kuro go up. So it means that with that, at least in normal difficulty, you can you can choose how safe to be. And don't forget to say hello to the fish.
Yeah, I'm just basically to be efficient about the fish we're about to see. You still don't want to swim. Efficient, yes. Help me. Yeah, so basically you don't want to swim too much, but there's fish in here. Okay, these ones spawned a little further away, but I will make the effort to actually
chase the fish.
Chase the fish. Fish RNG kinda bad though, not gonna lie. I'm going for this one.
What's a good Japanese game without a fishing minigame, isn't it?
Yeah,
There you go.
Said hello to a fish. I think the fish enjoyed that. I don't know.
A little handshake.
Yeah.
A fin shake.
Fin shake. Yep. All right. Going on to Kuro here, I can also show off a little funny movement technique that you can do there. Not here, but on the next one. If you whistle in this game right next to an edge, sometimes if you do it right, you can float.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if I timed my jump just a little bit earlier, I could have even like kept going there and jumped all the way to the platform. Okay, that's not what I want to do, but
Okay.
yeah, let's get into the Kuro fight.
Yeah. We'll see now. X-Men 4 will do the specific whistle. We will shoot Kuro down and just do the quick cycle stabs on its stomach. You do have to be careful. One of the movement options that Wanda has is by jumping to cancel that landing animation, you can whistle or change weapons. One thing that happens a lot with people who are a bit newer is you will whistle at the beginning to get Kuro to go up, and then you will jump whistle to move, which will mess up with with Kuro's AI. And oh wow, managed to get on directly. That's a lot harder than it looks. Usually either sends you flying or you just land next to Kuro. Ooh,
It wasn't a perfect way to do it though, just because I didn't land quite on the sigil. But that's something I've been practicing a little bit, just to optimize a little bit more. But on normal, it's not a big deal. We still have plenty of time to do all the stabs necessary. Hopefully. Yep, there we go.
Okay. Commentator's curse nearly. See, so Verbal on hard mode, you would either be dead or be running straight back up those stairs with that Kuro. But lucky because it's normal, we don't really,
Yeah, on
get
hard,
a lot
I
of
usually
leeway.
approach it all in quite a different way, just to be more consistent on the positioning there. But that's fine. Not too big of a deal.
No, that was a perfectly good normal Kuro. Now, moving on to our second lizard friend, I believe. We are on. Yes, I think I'm sorry. I've been not playing this game for long enough. Yes, it's turtles, right?
Oh, I forgot the doves. Okay, let me
doves.
try properly. Come on, no. Okay,
Oh,
next time for sure. I kind of forgot, but next time for sure.
for sure.
Yep. So yeah, Bassaran. Let's stop all the Bassaran hate. He's not that bad. He's kind of cool. Cool strategy. If you do him in
We have to
10 bits-
redirect all of the Bassaran hate towards Argus. That's what we need to do.
Nah, Argus is also fine. Honestly, the biggest hate-deserving Colossus is Pelagia, in my opinion. Like,
Yeah.
straight up.
Mhm.
But
True.
yeah, Bassaran is like the Turtle Colossus. And the way you usually would go about it is there's geysers next to him, and if you move him just right, he gets to a geyser, and then you get the chance to make him fall by attacking his feet. That's very slow, that's not what we will be doing. Instead, we will be doing a very cool trick, which is what I tried to do on Phaedra by getting into position the right way. I will be able to use the Colossus momentum to just launch myself right onto the head. It's quite precise, but a very rewarding trick to learn. Oh, okay. That was the Hawk, by the way. The Hawk is like a side character here during the run. If he gets near us, I might try to jump for it. There's a consistent way to get and grab the Hawk. It costs a minute though, so I don't think I will be doing it during the actual run. But if I get to grab a Hawk just like that, I will go for it, just to add to the whole animal theme. But yeah, lining up here is very important.
Yeah, with Bassaran, similar to with Hydrus, we have newer lineups to make it about as consistent with the time attack version. And what Tiktak will do is get on aggro at a specific time to manipulate what animation Bassaran will be doing, and then just ride straight towards the leg, jump on that little ledge we can see on the bottom right. Oh, sorry, true. We now skip the cutscene. And then just do a little hop to avoid getting shaken, and a little side jump. And if you want to go with the swag strat, you can also do a little jump stab as Tiktak did. That is the hardest part of Bassaran to learn, but truly the biggest time loss is exactly what's going on. Is Bassaran's different animations during the first half of Bassaran's health? They will whip their head back and forth as that one famous song said, and then in the second half it will shake side to side, which luckily Tiktak managed to get through very well. But if you don't manage to chain good stabs, you can lose a lot of time just getting shaken around and flung off.
Yeah, so the way this fight usually goes, if you get a plant right away to not get shaken, like the way you position yourself compared to the sigil, is if you do the instant jump stab and then chain planted stabs, you can just go through it without any issue. But what happened there is I didn't get a plant, so instead I waited for an animation and went back to the back of the sigil and back on it to cancel the shakes, which made me able to go through it without getting shaken. Another like backup strat to make it just a little bit faster.
You just got to make sure to, get those small little consistencies through.
Yeah, there we go.
Just letting the plant. Hey, we got the dove. Another animal down. Perfect.
And yeah, so that was like basically all the trophy relevant animals. There's more animals that are more obscure. I guess on the next Colossus during the cave, if you pay close attention, you can see bats. But the bats are not grabbable as far as I'm aware. You can just shoot them with bomb arrows. Anyway.
Now we have one of the longest riding times to our sand snake. We had the water snake before, now we've got the sand snake dirge.
Okay, I tried. I tried to get onto the hog, but usually it's kind of difficult to do. Yeah, let's get to dirge.
So this is, I believe, the third longest aggro ride behind the 14th and the last Colossi. With Dirge, unfortunately, it's just the other side of the map. There's not much to it. We're just kind of running in a particular direction. We use different big rocks to guide us. And the way that Dirge is going to work, it's going to be one of, I believe it's the first one cycle. Like a specific one cycle where we will do specific percent stabs. So you have the little circle in the bottom left corner, and depending on how charged it is, it deals more or less damage. But if we do a precise amount of damage, it's 2.4 stabs. So it's 2 full stabs and 1 stab that is a bit less than half. Or a lot of people do 1 stab, a 90% stab, then half a stab. Yeah, that's just kind of personal preference, but we do 2.4 stabs, which will deal just under half HP. But for those who have actually played Dirge, okay, with the Hawk?
Nope, I tried.
Flew away.
I'll be honest, I'm not quite sure how to get back down here, so I'll just stay like that.
I think you let go of grab, I think.
Okay, thank you.
Mohammed stuck up here, hell.
But yeah, the reason why the one cycle on Dirge works is actually kind of fun. So during this the fight, to make the puzzle of the fight is basically Dirge has big eyes, and if you shoot those eyes with an arrow, Dirge gets startled and rams into a wall, and then we can start stabbing. But the benefit of that arrow shot is that it deals a tiny bit of damage. Which means, in turn, on the first sigil, if we unsta-stab it by that tiny amount of damage, we don't kill the sigil, so it doesn't trigger the second cycle. But if we then destroy the second sigil, we dealt enough damage still, just about. Which you can only imagine how difficult that is, because the leeway there is very small. If you deal too much damage, you just kill the sigil. There are the bats, by the way. Very cool. And if you deal too little damage, you will understab on the last one and still fail the one cycle. So yeah, let's hope that goes well. It's a bit difficult, but you can do it consistently with a bit of practice. So let's see.
It's one of the first precision stabs in the game. It is also one of the ones that has most leeway. Later on, we'll see one that has barely any leeway and has a time requirement. But we'll see here. Over here, we take a specific path to make sure that Dirge always acts more or less the same and also crashes onto the wall fast enough. There, even though the eyes were still under the sand, you can actually shoot the eyes, and you can see right now. Once it comes back on, there's a tiny bit of damage. That's the leeway we have. So, Tiktak will do 2.4 stabs over here.
I think that should be fine. Yeah, looks good to me.
It looks fine. The two ways you can know that if you get it wrong is if you do the third stab and Dirge goes in, obviously you dealt too much damage. And then the other way is now, if it's not enough damage, Dirge will not go underground. That looks perfectly fine. There you go, perfect.
There we go.
If Dirge does go underground in the second one, you can technically swipe at the second sigil. Very hard. It's more of just kind of like you might as well try because he's already going down.
Yeah, because there's this tiny little moment during the animation where he goes under the sand and the sigil is still visible. So if you jump, get a boost and jump, stab or slash, you can still kill that sigil, but I only managed to do it once, and it was actually during a Speed Dogs marathon. So there's a little fun fact there.
You should have tried it again.
Yeah, failed on purpose just to fail it and be silly about it. Yeah. Okay.
You should have gone full circle.
Yep. Okay.
So now we're gonna go to my personal favorite, which is Salosia. It's a tiny little dog who is very scared of fire. We'll be running towards there. We've got a precise jump to get onto the arena. There's this one kind of, not super precise, but kind of precise angle where you can jump off and just about get onto the arena. Luckily, Wanda has, legs of, I'd say steel, but not even that. It's just indestructible legs, so you can jump off from 20 meters up and there's a tisbit of scratch. And we will start the fight with Salosia, and what we will do is usually you have to get the stick, you have to light on fire and slowly push Salosia away, because if you get close it will go back. If you get too close it will swipe at you, but you can slowly push Salosia off of the ledge. But fortunately, as we all know, when you're not holding something that's on fire, the fire doesn't exist. So we can use that well-known fact of life to put the stick on fire onto the ground. Salosia will completely ignore the fire for some reason and just charge at you. And if we pick up the stick, pick the stick back up, it will change Salosia into the scared state and be close enough to the edge that it will cause that cutscene of Salosia falling down. On top of that, if you do it correctly, you can get hit as well, which will knock you down to a ledge underneath, which then will let you, which will speed up having to drop down 2 ledges. You need to drop down 1, and luckily Salosia has half an ounce of health. So just 2 quick stabs and should be done.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the cooler Colossi to optimize as well, just because there's a few little tricks that you can use to just go a little bit faster. But for the most part, it's one of those Colossi where, as long as you do everything correct, it has very little variance on the time it takes. So yeah, let's see if I can do it well here.
Yeah, we're gonna get the drop down over here. It's a small little nook over here. So you jump over this way. There, you gotta be careful because you can get caught on the geometry, and it's a soft lock. But actually, I think you get out of it.
You can get out of it, but you will lose like a minute or so. Yeah, it's very difficult to deal with the meme rock, as it's called. Yeah.
You can go either side. Most people go over here to the left.
Yeah, it's a tiny bit faster.
what we'll do is, we'll jump off, because once Celestia starts charging in, we don't actually need to be in that spot, so we can jump to where the stick will fall down. Luckily, just kind of getting near the stick, near the fire lights it on fire, so you just jump up. And over here, what we'll do is get into position, as I said before, drop the stick, and then pick it back up at specific timing, and it will trick Celestia into falling down, because as we know, fire only works when it's in your hand. We will now take out the sword, do a quick jump stab, and do a second jump stab, and clear out this very quick Colossus. And another case of Sigil just lying to you. It's the entire back, basically. It may look scary to do those second jump stabs, but you can do up to 3 jump stabs, and you will just magnetize onto the back in hard mode. If you drop down with the jump stab, you can just do 2 consecutive ones, and it gets defeated just the same, even though it logically looks like you'll just fly off.
Yeah, instead of that, you could also go for a plant, but it's slower, and you avoid a lot of shaking if it goes wrong. Sometimes if you fail it just a little bit, you have to go for a plant. It's usually fine, but a lot of casual players will know how difficult this one can be to, like, get right if you're not used to doing things like plants and things like that.
Fortunately, at least with Celestia, not sure how much of it was on purpose, but most of the back is a plant. But the main issue with planting is that if you do move, it will take the plant off. So what a lot of people tend to do is they tend to grab on, but then move to get into quote-unquote a better position, because again, that sigil looks like it's only the front, even though it's the entire back. And then when you do move, you break the plants, and Celestia will take you for a ride, but a long ride, because it will try to run back up to the arena even though you're on it. But realistically, if you just jump and grab onto it and don't move, Celestia can do all the jumps that they want, you will be able to just stab it without any issue. Now we're on to your favorite. I'll give you the honors to explain it.
So Pelagia is, in my opinion, objectively the worst Colossus, casually or in the speedrun. Just because of the way it works, it's very, prone to give you big time loss. On normal, it is mostly fine, because we have a lineup there. The way it works is, once you get on the head of a Colossus in a casual speedrun, you're like, huh, there's the sigil. Instead of the sigil, there's, teeth on top of its head, however that works. And they are practically inviting you to slash at them. And once you do that, you realize you can maneuver the Colossus like a robot around the arena. And there's
a very dumb mech.
A very dumb, very unnecessarily horrible mech, yeah. Useless. And there's gazebos around where you can kind of jump on. And once you jump on, the Colossus gets kind of aggressive at you. And once it attacks the gazebo, you realize there's a sigil on the belly, which you then can stab. Now, why is this Colossus annoying? On normal, it's fine if you get the setup. So if you do it perfectly by jumping onto the head at a perfect angle, getting there early enough, stabbing the teeth in a perfect way, you manipulate its AI in a way that then you can do the one cycle. And even though one cycle is still fairly hard, if you do it right, it's not RNG, you can just manipulate it to be fine. If, though, you mess up slightly on the AI manipulation, it becomes very annoying, because sometimes Pelagia just decides to be like, yeah, actually, you know what, I'm going away, see you next time. And you lose a minute or two simply due to the fact that the Colossus doesn't feel like doing the thing. And on hard mode, it's straight up the most annoying one.
Basically.
Yeah, basically it's RNG, because you can do a one cycle, and there instead you do a very calculated 2 cycle. After doing the first cycle of it, you try to jump onto its head. Now there's 3 ways it goes. Either you fall off straight up, there's no way to influence it, and then you lose a minute. Or it turns left, which loses time, or it turns right, where it's the best case scenario. Sometimes you still fall off, and when you get to the second gazebo, there's straight up RNG if it behaves or not. So hopefully after all of that, on normal mode I can show off the one cycle.
Yeah. Luckily, yeah.
It's also very specific due to the way it works. So usually you would only be able to do 3 stabs because the 2 cycle is the intended way of doing this. But there's a little oversight, so after doing 2 full stabs worth of stab damage, just focusing here for a moment, that looks good so far.
I'll explain it, don't worry. The way that it works essentially is after 3 stabs, Pelagia gets, after 2 full stabs, Pelagia gets told, I have to do this specific animation. If you do 1.9 stabs or 1.95 stabs, you can delay that animation to happen and just about get those 4 stabs in. Unfortunately, this is by far the hardest precision stab because not only is it basically 1.95 stabs, but on top of that, that sigil is way smaller than it looks. One that can get shaken randomly if you don't get positioned correctly, and it's just all on a very strict timer. So everything comes together, and on top of the pressure of having to deal with Pelagia's AI, but sometimes you can be in the perfect position, but if you don't... What?
That was interesting.
Do you get hooked on...
Yeah, I was at the belly there for some reason. I think Water held on for longer than he should have. Yeah, that never happened before.
Luckily, that's not a time loss.
It's not a time loss, it's just funny. But yeah, the one cycle worked out beautifully, so thank God. Yeah.
Yeah, so the problem with Pelagia is sometimes you can be in the perfect position, but instead of just... because it's not looking straight at you, it's looking like slightly to the right, it will just walk away. Or it will just go to the other side. Or it will jump, but it will be in a wrong position and you won't have time. Just so many things. Luckily in normal, it's 100% consistent if you do it right. In hard, because the game forces you into like a 3 cycle is the intended way. We are forced to do 2 cycles. There's no physical way to deal enough damage, and we have to deal with the AI. But luckily, after Pelagia, it comes the most beautiful Colossus, which is Phalanx, which on top of that is a relatively easy Colossus. It's another one with... we go from the most strict precision stabbing to what I believe is the most relaxed precision stabbing.
Though we have a new strategy here actually, which will be fun. Because what we used to do is we tried to emulate the individual level speedrun perfectly to get a 50-50 chance of the Colossus diving under the sand. That was quite tricky. Like, on any percent, some people were very consistent at it, I really wasn't. It was tough just because of how precise it was. But we found a new setup where no matter left turn or right turn, we can get the Colossus to get somewhat under the sand directly without any setup required, so it's straight up faster as well. But it requires a few like precise arrow shots. Hopefully I can show it off. And
yeah. And like with Dirge, it's kind of like Dirge but more extreme, because we need to shoot 3 arrows into Phalanx. Even though it's nowhere near a sigil, it still deals damage, which will let us do that the first 2. Because the second you take out one of the sigils, Phalanx will start barrel rolling and also start a timer for Phalanx to dive back down unless you get rid of, and if you take out another sigil. But if we deal like, what is it, like 1.8 to each sigil, we can just deal enough damage and not have to deal with any barrel rolls or any timers, luckily.
Yeah, so just lining up for that little setup that we're doing. It's still way faster than the old setup because we can just run directly here. Now I just wait a little bit on the cutscene, do 2 like little kicks, and if I get the arrows well here, I didn't. Okay, let's try to back it up. The backup didn't work. Nope. Yeah, I don't think it'll work anymore, but let's see what happens. I never delayed it by that much. Maybe it'll still work. The strategy is a lot more relaxed than it used to be.
The good thing about a bad...
it kind of works. Yeah, it's
the
just
good thing about a bad Phalanx... Yeah, the good thing about a bad Phalanx is that because there's basically no other strat other than this, A bad phalanx is just an old normal phalanx, so you know, we just had to chase it for a bit, jump on, and
yeah. So that still
get
kind
through
of
it.
went fine, but I'm just not used to like, wow. Okay, you know what? I personally will admit it.
Okay.
I don't like this Colossus. I was not used. I was not used to like the angle there because I messed up in a way that I never did, and now it's just like, despite it being a perfectly intended way of doing this, Wander sometimes just ends up not doing the thing that you want him to do. So yeah, we're fine now, I hope. But yeah.
The best part about the strat, if it had work and the individual level strat as well, is that because phalanx dives so far down and you can jump directly onto the back, avoiding having to get onto the fins, which is honestly most of the pain with phalanx, because of the dunes, because of depth perception, because of the speed. Which, fun fact, phalanx's speed is dictated by your speed on aggro. So if you go slow, phalanx will go slow. If you go fast, phalanx will go fast. But because of that, it does make it so that jumping onto the fins and grabbing on is weird and inconsistent. Luckily, with the ILs, not only is it easier, but not only is it faster, but also we skipped the whole part of having to jump onto the bloody fins. But anyways, It wasn't terrible. It's that a couple years ago would have been just a fine phalanx.
Yeah, the standard just has risen by quite a bit. It always just feels bad because I grabbed on, but then it went under the sand more, so then it was fine, and Wander just ended up not grabbing anymore. It's okay though. It's not a big time loss here, and we're still good to go.
Definitely.
Real quick, I was just gonna say, real quick, we do have a $20 donation from Buddy the Cat that says, "Meow, happy to help with Sable's scaly friends." So thank you very much to Buddy the Cat. Hopefully we can get a couple of pets in there when we get the chance.
Thank you very much.
We can get a couple pets now before
we go to
shooting
the
off.
next Colossus. So that's 4 pets.
Exactly.
Very nice.
Luckily now, aggro no longer needs to accompany us into fights, so she only needs to take us from point A to point B. And now, definitely, if anyone wants to give a good donation, we have the longest trek now over to Zenobia, which is not only on the other side of the world, but also kind of confusing to get to, especially with casual players. I cannot count the amount of times that I got lost when I was first playing to get to Zenobia, especially because there's just no sun to help you guide you. You just kind of go into a giant labyrinth. But luckily,
yeah,
Wonder recovered quick from that. He turned around.
Yeah, I think I'll give up on grabbing the Hawk. Just so you know, the Hawk is grabbable, but I'm not sure if I can afford any more time loss.
You can imagine Wonder flying off on the Hawk.
Yeah, there's actually quite a funny video with a turbo controller where someone bound the grab button to a turbo controller and went onto that Hawk, and you can fly indefinitely while you keep grabbing. So you never actually fall because you can always grab even with 0 stamina. And eventually they were able to get all the way beyond the gate, which is quite funny. Like, only imagine if that was the strategy to bypass like the game. But unfortunately, if you get past the gate, you found separate ways to do it. But Malice isn't there unless you killed all Colossi. So this game is as unbreakable as it gets, at least on the any % run.
This game is annoyingly consistent.
Yeah.
We do have a whole category called the item menu glitch category that does allow you to skip half of the Colossi, but unfortunately there's a bit of internal flags going on where you can't really skip more than a couple Colossi forwards, so it means that we do need to at least kill half of them before Malice just pops up. You can teleport there, but he just will be on holidays. You will get the spooky music, and you don't get the spooky music, but you do get the moody rain. but Malice is just not there, unfortunately.
I mean, I get it. When there's so much rain going on and 12 other Colossi still there, you don't have to be there to fight, right?
Yeah, like, why just get wet? The rest of them at least have nice sunny, arenas or like underground, but Malice is over there getting soaked with the rain, unfortunately. So now we're going towards Zenobia. There's only 3 more Colossi left, and this one is the one that's going to give you the biggest forearm. Zenobia, honestly, in my opinion, one of the best intended fights. It's a really cool parkour puzzle where you have to, jump around, bait Zenobia into knocking down different pillars to move around. It's really, really cool. We skip all that because speedrunning is like that. In the PS4 remake, this is another one of those moments where, in an effort to make everything more beautiful, they also messed the game up a bit. Luckily, this time it wasn't just to make aggro really annoying. Sorry, we do love aggro over here, just not while we're running. But they added like a flared base to the pillar, which we can slightly clip into, and if you jump at a very precise time, it will send you flying. The timing is so precise that we just mash. You just you jump in, you mash, you get a giant forearm. You have to explain that to your partner now. You swear it's from speedrunning, I promise. And you get flung up, and you can get onto the final pillar, which then you can knock down. And on top of that, there's a bit more wall geometry, again, trying to make the game look pretty, which it does. It looks beautiful. They created more geometry on the wall, which allows us to kind of skip having to run to the end and then climb up. And all in all, it's one of the longer fights, just because you have to just run around the whole parkour section.
But it's still since we get to the last pillar directly, it skips minutes of the intended way of doing it. Because usually you'd have to parkour around all the way. Yeah.
And not just parkour, but you also have to bait Zenobia into knocking down like 3-4 pillars. So like the normal fight, beautiful, 5-6 minutes long. Oh my god, it's so long. It's really good for one time, really bad if you're just doing it over and over again. So luckily we can skip to the end and get through. But one thing that we do need to do, which I don't think you've done, is change to 30 FPS.
Yep, just to make the game ugly, but that's the only way the glitch actually works for the pillar mashing. It kind of works on 60 as well, but it's basically impossible to do consistently on 60 FPS. So instead we get to look at lower
We get to look at 4K PowerPoint. Beautiful.
Yeah.
But PowerPoint.
Yeah,
so,
for some reason it turns the game 4K on the Pro and PS5, but it also turns down with PS, which just doesn't make any sense.
Luckily it's not patched out, because then we wouldn't be able to run on PS4. There you go, PS5s. Yeah, we just just spam a bit, get up on top, and we can actually get up here basically before basically before Zenobia can even get here. We will continue shooting down. We're going to get lined up here and let go of the arrow as Zenobia hits, basically to keep the aggro on. Usually, because of how the game is programmed, after that cutscene, Zenobia kind of loses interest in you. But if you shoot them right as you go up, right as the pillar goes down, you can keep them, annoyed at you. Hello, Zenobia. Hello. Is that because you're too far back?
That keeps happening to me as of recently, and I don't know why. It doesn't make sense.
Is it because you're too far back after the wacky?
No, I used to do it the exact same way. Maybe I'm just a tad bit slower and it gets into like some kind of... Yeah, anyway. So usually I'd be out there to get onto Zenobia directly, but because of all that nonsense that just happened, because the Colossus didn't feel like reacting to the arrows, we'll have to figure out a way to get onto the back in this way, I guess. That works.
Zenobia luckily similar to Colossus, where kind of more or less, if you just grab on and don't move, it will plant more often than not. I'm guessing this is because they're such small colossi that they made it extra easy to just grab on. As well, this is a skip that I usually forget that happens. Usually you have to get Zenobia to bump into walls as well, to knock them down and grab on. We just plant and take it all. You could technically jump stab at the end. It's never worth it. It will never work out in that perfect run. Don't try it. Just stick with the nice plans. Don't go for the final jump stab. It's always a lie.
Yeah, it's one of the most terrifying things when you try to go for the IO world record in the end, just doing that extra jump stab, and then you just get flung and the record is gone. Happened a couple times here and there.
Now we go into my favorite Colossi, and I totally do not hate completely. It is Argus. It is the last. It is the last time we're going to be doing that side jump launch. We have it on as we've been seeing. Well, unfortunately we didn't see it on Phaedra, but it's an advanced technique with Phaedra. It's the standard technique with Bassaran. Rip strat does not work. Don't try it. Just learn the actual launch. And then we have it on Argus. This one is. It's a bit more precise than Bassaran, but luckily respawning yourself is a lot faster with Argus. But what we're going to do is we're going to go into a specific spot at the beginning of the fight to get Argus to try to stomp us with his left foot, and by trying to stomp us with his left foot, their right leg is going to kneel down. We can jump onto the knee pads. From there, jump onto the back of the leg and onto the hand, which will allow us to skip the whole puzzle of going onto the bridge, hitting the bridge and dropping the sword. Take the hand out, because even though he's grabbing the sword, there's a tiny patch on the hand that you can still grab on and stab. And then after that, we're going to try to jump back onto the leg. Sometimes you drop down, it's fine. Luckily, Argus is too stun locked to react, and during the initial walk animation, it's going to take first a step with the left foot and then a step with the right foot. During the left foot, we're going to do a small jump up to avoid getting shaken, and during the right foot, we're going to do that side jump, which will send us flying up onto Argus. One fun fact about this game is the FPS does affect the physics. So if you did play the PS4 remaster, if you did play the PS2, and then moved on to the PS3 to complete the trilogy, and you think, wow, I'm terrible at the game, you're not terrible. I mean, maybe you are terrible, but the PS3 is fighting you. They incremented the FPS but made the physics absolutely terrible on the PS3. You are on butter.
Yeah. And honestly, Argus is a very interesting case as well. I think it's the most insane-looking individual Colossus compared to if you know how to do it in the intended way. Just because Wander just goes there and rips him to shreds. And if you do it very quickly, it can be under 30 seconds for the whole fight, which is just ridiculous. Yeah. And part of it, why we got to that point, is because in the PS4 version, they patched the whole deal about dropping the sword, because before, in the PS2 and PS3 version, what the speedrunners would do, they would take the safe way of launching up the head first, and then going to the intended way of attacking the weak point and dropping the sword to then get into the hand in a safe manner. They patched that out, so now if you attack the weak point without first seeing a certain cutscene, which we don't see in the speedrun, it won't do anything. So the speedrunners had to adapt, and the way we adapt is just, let's grab the patch of fur that just about allows you to grab there anyway, and the whole run became a lot faster, even though more difficult arguably, but it's very cool to show off. I enjoy that a lot.
Definitely, especially with the IL, we'll see here what Tiktak12 will do is after stabbing the hand, jump onto the leg, and then you have to wait for Argus to settle down and then start walking. On the IL, you stab the hand, jump straight onto the leg, and Argus is already walking. So it is, especially with the IL, it is a non-stop. It's a really, really impressive run. So we'll see here, we're going to jump onto the leg, then back on the leg, and we grab onto that little tuft. You can see one of those beautiful... You go for it? Going for the IL?
Oh no! Come on.
Ah!
Okay, that was a perfect setup. I could not go for it, but the regrab didn't work for whatever reason.
That's unfortunate.
I'm at loss for words. Like, I did the hard part, but then the regrab didn't work for whatever reason. Let me try that again. Like, if a camera looks off, I'm not going for it. But at this point, after practicing Bio long enough, I think I can pull it off semi-consistently. Unfortunately, it didn't work.
Famous last words. So yeah, we see
okay.
here in
This won't
in
work,
that
so
in,
let's do it.
yeah, that won't work at all. In that jump onto the hand, you can see that we don't actually jump towards the hand. We jump parallel to the hand because one just has giant magnet hands. And here we're going to jump up to avoid the shake, and then a little side jump, and that's it. If the regrab would have worked, which is unfortunately the easy part of that, all of that would have happened, but without having to wait for Argus to settle down. And then just 3 quick stabs, and for anyone who has done the puzzle here, you'll hate us, because Argus's puzzle is notoriously finicky and annoying to get through.
Yeah, Vial saves about 10 seconds. It's not a big one, but whenever the camera looks right, I get the itch to just go for it. And yeah.
You get those intrusive thoughts as it telling you can't do it.
I mean, honestly, unless our run is very, very in the green, like, if I get the chance, going for it is just like, it's a must. Because even if you mess up the regrab but don't fall, there's backups that are still faster. It's just a bit finicky, though.
So now, unfortunately, we are getting towards the end of the run. If anyone wants to get their pets in for no reason at all, but there's a bit of a timer now. We will be going towards Malice, which is the final Colossus, which is, in my opinion, the only strat that is easier than the intended route.
Yep.
Because the intended route, for some reason, it's so precise. You get barely any time. Malice snipes you out of the caves, snipes you out of the walls. In the millisecond, Malice sees some Wonder skinned. He blows shots at you. We found a very consistent way. It's just a fairly lenient route that we follow with some specific jumps, some specific rolls, which basically manipulates Malice's AI to shoot in specific spots. To shoot in specific spots to basically not affect us, and be able to just run towards him. You literally just run towards him, and I'm telling you, if you're having problems with Malice, just learn this strat. It's so much easier. It's very lenient, it's very easy to learn, and it's way easier than the intended route.
And it takes a bit of
Argus,
practice, but it's very, very rewarding just because you cut out a lot of difficult stuff. Nevertheless, I'm very famous for messing it up over and over again during critical, very fast-paced runs. So people call that getting tic-tac. So let's see what happens. Whenever I get to Malice in like a very public setting, something crazy happens. We'll see if that happens again. Hopefully
nothing will ever beat you being on world record pace, getting hit, and soft locking in an infinite fall with one of the barriers, which I have never seen before, and I don't think I've ever seen again. But,
it happened twice to me, but only to me. I haven't.
Only to you. Nobody else has seen it.
No, I don't. I think I'm the only person that has seen that, but twice. Yeah. Basically, if you clip into the barrier in a very specific way, after getting shot in a very unfortunate way, it happens. So yeah, Dayman.
One that basically tumbles.
It's the last chance. So if there's any donations, right now is the last chance for aggro pets. Okay, doesn't seem like there are any. So unfortunately, guys.
We gotta give aggro one last pet, I think.
I think so,
before,
yeah. Sure, let's do that.
Before she goes swimming.
Yeah.
Also, say, well, Argus went well. Unfortunately, Tic-Tac got the IL strat perfect, and then the easiest part just didn't work. So we're gonna say goodbye to our good old horsey aggro with a couple pets.
A couple pets for free. because Aggro is world renowned for being Olympic diver. So
Exactly.
let's see the technique and vote. What do you think?
You gotta give your scores for Aggro's dive now. That's it. Okay, before anyone says it, Aggro makes it.
Aggro doesn't die. I would feel bad trash talking Aggro.
I would feel bad.
Aggro actually dies, but we spoil it. Aggro doesn't die. She appears in the intro, in the outro, in the credits. See ya.
Look at that double tuck, triple flip, and
Nice
a big
landing.
splash. But you know,
For a
Good.
horse, I think it checks out. Yeah.
for a horse it's quite fine. Yes.
Oh god, we're terrible people. Anyway.
Anyways, we will move on to Malice now. It's just the last climb up.
By the
and,
way, during the about, I don't know, 10 minutes or so that this run has left, Aggro gets back all the way to the temple after swimming through the depths there, and with a broken leg still makes it, so that's very impressive. Honestly. Yeah.
I'm telling you, I wish Aggro was that fast while we're playing.
Yeah.
Because it gets back really fast. You should fix it up and
Yeah.
you know. But yeah, we'll be going on here with the final Colossus of Malice. For anyone who is doing some new game plus after you've got the items, you can use the invisibility cloak to just run up to Malice. It's not even that. That's just the new game plus speedrun strat. It's not even like a hard thing to do. You just put it on and Malice can't see you. But unfortunately, as we do not have the invisibility cloak, we will be doing the very specific run through again. The reason why we do this specific route and the jumps that we do is to bait the different shots. The first shot is going to go behind a pillar. The second shot is going to go it's going to go behind us. The third one into a little divot as we jump over it. And the fourth shot, I believe it's the fourth shot, it will look like it should hit us, but there's a bit of geometry and a bit of tomfoolery that allows us to not get hit. So over here we're going to turn left a bit right as we go up the crest. Shot behind. We're going to do the jump up and go into the divot. There you go. This one we do a jump and a roll, and it looks like we should get hit, but the little lip behind there protects us, and we're basically scot-free. The only thing left is this little jump into the pit, where if you don't time it right, you can get sniped out of it. But it's just simply not getting ahead of yourself, letting Malice shoot before you. And now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be climbing up, but because doing the whole puzzle of one hand to one arm, then one hand to the other, it's quite slow. So what we're going to be doing is the weak point on the shoulder can be shot from underneath. So we'll be shooting that, and as Malice moves their hand to grab the shoulder, you hit me, you right bastard. We will be able to jump onto the hand, and then from there use a bit more of that funky momentum magic to just jump directly onto Malice's collarbone and finish up the run. Timing does not end when Malice gets defeated. There's still a post-fight scene. There you go. So we use some of that wacky momentum that we have, and then just plant here and finish off the hard part of the run. I'm guessing you'll try to get some dormant floating.
Yeah. Might as well.
Over here.
I think it's a slightly bit faster as well. So why not, right? That's
there you go.
Malice done.
GG's.
So that's the last
That is
Colossus. But what if we are the Colossus all along?
What if we turn into John Colossus?
What if we turn into a giant animal, devil beast? Yeah.
That likes
You
to
know,
be.
yeah. In a way, Wander
Not
is
yet.
the
CC.
brutal animal all along, if we're being honest. So After skipping the cutscene and a bunch of lore, play the game yourself if you want the lore. Anyway, here we are, tada, we are the evil one.
We're floating.
Dorman. And we are floating, so if I turn around, we can see Dorman feet. Exclusive. Yeah. And
Exclusive pics of Dorman feet.
yeah.
This happens that if you wiggle the right stick while you skip the cutscene, for some reason you just pop up in the air. I think it's because you like spawn in the soldiers and you kind of get pushed up.
Yeah, I think you just get pushed above the guards and the game doesn't notice. It doesn't make much sense.
Apparently Dorman just doesn't have gravity on, so you kind of flow there. Timing will end when Wanda enters the dormant milk.
The dormant milk.
There's no better way of describing it. It is dormant milk. So.
And also vaping is bad for you. Since we are the devil, we consta vape. Yeah.
That's the law friendly reason of the blue raspberry.
Yeah, I think so. We also get
thank you.
A bunch of powers here. Yep.
Yeah, so we can see a bit cutscene vape at the background. Timing will end now when Wanda goes into the pool. Thank you very much for watching. We'll get time now in a second. We do a couple jumps to avoid Wanda, stumbling, and that's time. Perfect.
Alright. Always happy to show off
Thank you
this
very
run.
much.
It's a very cool one. Anyone who is interested, join the Team Eco server. Cool community, very cool game to learn, and very rewarding to get good at. And yeah.
It's a 1 hour 24:36.
That's very good considering I even tried to catch all the animals, so...
And we had many, many pet breaks.
Yep.
So that was good. Excellent. Fantastic run. Thank you very much. This is a good one. Continuing our opening block. Really appreciate it. So that's fantastic. If any other concluding words or shout-outs or where people can find you and your stuff, now's a great time to plug it.
Yeah, sure. On Twitch you can find me under Tiktak12. I also have a YouTube somewhere in there. You can just look it up in the description of the Twitch, honestly. I stream mostly this game. And yeah, honestly, next week there'll be a very cool event coming up because I will be part of a big high end production of Rocket Beans TV. It's a German streaming, and they do a little live stream in-person event of a bunch of speedruns. So if you're German or just want to watch that run, you can join the Team Eco server to find out more about when that's happening. Nothing more from me. Save the lizards, rebuild the lizard containers.
Enclosures.
Containers. Yeah.
The lizard Tupperware.
Yeah, just put the lizards where they belong. There we go. That's it from me.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Well, stay tuned, everybody. We're going to go ahead and send it over to a break, and we'll be back in a little bit with our next run. Stay tuned.